Happy birthday VMAX. 40 years ago this year, the VMAX 1200 came out, and it was an answer to the Honda V65 Magna, which had come out in 1983. And right away, all of the other Japanese manufacturers felt like they were behind the curve, because the V65 Magna just took the motorcycle world by storm by coming out with 116 horsepower and claiming to be the world's fastest production motorcycle. So quickly, the other three manufacturers tried to come up with an answer, and I will leave the VMAX for last, but starting with Suzuki. Suzuki answered with the Madura 1200, so they had to outdo the Magna's size by 100 cc's, and they had to outdo the Magna's 116 horsepower by one. Believe it or not, the Madura came in at 117 horsepower. And Kawasaki's answer was the 900 Eliminator with 105 horsepower, which basically used the Ninja engine. And last is the VMAX 1200, again having to outdo the V65 Magna's 1100 cc's. The VMAX came out with 1200, but this one was just light years ahead of all of the rest as far as horsepower is concerned, with 145. So in 1985, you had four muscle bikes, four muscle cruisers to choose from. So clearly 1985 was the year of the muscle bike. But unfortunately it did not last long, because I think it was right around this time that the sport bikes started coming out, like the Ninja and Interceptors and all of those bikes that were vying for everyone's attention and speed. It seemed like every time you turn around, there was another one that came out, and it now claimed to be the world's fastest production motorcycle. But I think the sport bike has its own appeal just because of all the different colors and all the plastic, and when compared to a regular looking cruiser back then, with the real difference either being a V4 or a powerful inline 4, a lot of people just appealed to all of the colors and the plastics, and of course the speed. So I think all of that kind of contributed to the limited run on the muscle bikes. So, and speaking of which, the V65 Magna, the original version, only ran from 1983 to 1986. The Suzuki Madura lasted 2 years, 85 and 86, and the original Kawasaki 900 was 85 to 86. However, the Eliminator got a boost in size, I believe it was in 86, for about 5 years. I believe it was 1,000 cc, maybe an 1100, but I think I remember it as being 1,000. But either way, that was pretty much the end of everyone having muscle bikes. So it did not last but for a couple of years. And the VMAX 1200, by the way, the original run on that was from 1985 to 2007. So that was the last one standing. And of course, they had a rebirth in 2009, and that's the bike you're looking at now, the second generation, the 1700. And of course, when I'm talking about years of production for the VMAX, particularly the 1200 from 85 to 2007, I'm talking strictly United States. I believe the production ended in a lot of other countries many years prior to that. And same with 2009 to 2020 on the VMAX 1700. I am talking once again only about the United States. But anyway, this one reigned supreme, and it did for 35 years as far as production is concerned. So this is the winner of all of them. And it was 40 years ago that all of this began. And for me, it's been 5 years since I bought this. And for those of you that have been watching my channel for some time, you know that originally I was a little concerned about the VMAX not sticking around very long. And because it is such a unique looking bike, and it's a V4, which there aren't many of those today, not clearly as many as there were back in the 1980s. And I just love the V4. I love its power, I love its sound, the fact that it's somewhat rare. I decided I could not pass up on the VMAX. So I'm glad I pulled the trigger, because within a couple of months of me doing so, the VMAX ceased production. So this was the last year. So for me, it's a 5-year anniversary of the VMAX as far as my ownership is concerned. So happy birthday, VMAX. And at some point, I will have a long-term review on my bike, having owned it now for 5 years. See you next time.